Welcome everyone to Christina's Clairvoyant Cafe. If you have a chance, grab a cup of coffee and have a seat and take some time with me today. So today we're going to talk about boundaries. So a lot of people come to me to ask me questions about boundaries and what are they. And we need boundaries. Boundaries are so important, especially if you find yourself being an empath. Check out the video before this about being empathic, psychic, and being a psychic empath. So having strong boundaries is not a bad thing. It doesn't make you mean or aloof or a type of person that doesn't care. Having strong boundaries actually makes you a stronger psychic person. It makes you become more aware of what is going on around you, the needs of others, and how you can help. And sometimes the best thing we can do when we are trying to help others is not to do anything, believe it or not. So how do you find out more about establishing boundaries? I really wish parents would teach their kids about boundaries. And if you do have kids, please pass on this information because it's so important. Because kids in school without boundaries, it's so hard to be able to separate yourself from everybody else in the classroom and pay attention to what the teacher's saying. Especially if a kid is really empathic, they're picking up on everything around them. It's really hard to focus and really hard for them to get some things done for themselves because their boundaries are weak. So some of the things that happen when you have weak boundaries is that you kind of feel like a willow tree that however the wind blows, you end up bending to that extreme. You end up becoming just so soft and so kind of movable to other people's whims that you don't have a sense of self. And it can be really, really hard for you to develop psychic abilities if you don't have strong boundaries. And to give you an example of that, for years and years, I would go into a haunted location, a house or a business, and I help cross ghosts over. And if you do this and you don't have any boundaries, the ghost will follow you home. And I've learned this from firsthand experience. If you don't have strong boundaries, then these ghosts can manipulate you. If you want to go down this path of being more psychic and doing this type of work, it is imperative to have strong boundaries because those boundaries protect you. Those boundaries don't allow anything to manipulate you or anybody. And we're going to talk more about ghosts in another session, so just stay tuned. You might want to hit subscribe next time I have a new video out. You'll be notified when it comes out and you'll be able to learn some more amazing. Everything I've learned through trial and error. There's a lot of things I've learned in books, but then I'm kind of a rebel. I have to kind of prove things to myself to make sure that they're real before I can teach anybody. And trust me, I ran the gamut. I really did test all these things out before I'm teaching them to do. So boundaries, like I said, are really, really important. Now, you might find yourself also, as if you have weak boundaries, to be a peacekeeper, like somebody who doesn't want confrontation and you instantly are quiet and go within, or you negate your own feelings and your own needs so that other people will be happy. That is like totally weak boundaries, very thin. And what happens is, if you're in a situation where maybe you're with a group of people and everybody has their own opinion and you shut down and you keep your opinion to yourself, that's not having strong boundaries. That's, you're trying to keep the peace. You're giving away your energy. and you're not thinking that you're important, that you are deserving to be heard as well. So to have strong boundaries is really important. And I'm going to tell you how to develop a strong boundary. So the first thing you can do is it's kind of an exercise where every morning before you get up, or when you get up, take a moment and visualize your auric field. Now your auric field comes out about 1.5 feet around you. That's a nice healthy aura. And if you try and exercise, you can actually feel your auric field. So if you spread your arms out around you and kind of like do an accordion type thing where you bring them out and in and out and in, and you can kind of feel that have this bubble around you, this auric field all the way around you, and your aura is an extension of your energy. So anybody that has any idea about having an auric field, even if you don't know what an auric really is, can experience this when you have somebody who talks to you and they kind of invade your space. Like they start to walk into your auric field and their face is right here and they're talking to you, and you immediately feel invaded. And what's happening is this person is actually picking up your energy in your auric field. And sometimes they're like a vampire where they suck your energy dry. And that's another reason why you should have boundaries, because there's a lot of people who don't have strong sense of self or strong boundaries, and they latch onto people and they suck their energy out of them. Psychic vampires, where they take their energy and you feel depleted when you're around this specific person because they just suck all that energy from you. And they feel great when they leave, and then you're feeling horrible. You feel exhausted. It can happen so often that you really don't realize it's happening because it's so subtle. So it's really about developing your intuition, and your psychic ability is really about paying attention to those subtleties, paying attention to what's going on in the world around you. So imagine that auric field all around you, and then with intention, so place like a white shield of light. And this white shield is iridescent, like mother of pearl. And take that white shield and put it around your auric field like a giant egg, like a giant bubble. So it extends 1.5 feet above your head, 1 foot or so below your feet into the earth, and then all the way around you. So this white shield of energy on the outer side of your auric field is kind of like a sieve. And what happens is only good positive energy can flow in through the sieve, but anything negative, anything that is manipulative or condescending or even competitive in some way, anything negative hits that white, beautiful, luminescent force field and then disintegrates, just falls away. So that's how I want you to perceive it. Another way you could think of it as a bulletproof plexiglass shield, so that you can see through it. There's nothing really blocking any positive energy coming in, but anything negative hits that shield and dissipates. So how this helps you is, even if somebody's sending malintention or talking about you or have negative energy coming towards you, and it could be from anywhere, it could be from, a glance, it could be like maybe you accidentally cut somebody off and didn't mean to, and then you get this negative energy. So what happens is it hits that force field and it disintegrates, it falls away. So it doesn't get absorbed. So it keeps you from being a sponge, it keeps you from being that super empathic person where you're drawing all that negative energy in and the positive energy. It's only allowing the positive energy to stay inside that bubble. And I know it sounds a little odd and it sounds like a little airy-fairy, but I've tried it. So in my past, a few years back, I went into a location. Now, this location was haunted, and I found out that the person who owned the location, or actually founded this charitable location that I used to work at for children, for daycare, was actually haunted by this person. She had passed away and she was haunting the halls. Now, I noticed that everybody in this place was negative, and a lot of times when you find so many people that are in a negative space, a lot of times it's haunted. So this haunted person was really wreaking havoc in this place and making everyone feel negative. And every time I went in there, I would leave feeling horrible. I would go in with a great attitude and positive energy, and then I felt like it got sucked dry for me. So what I did was I learned about boundaries and I started to test them. And before I went in there, I knew I was going, I imagined myself protected in this white luminescent bubble, and I made an intention, and I said to myself, I'm going to go in and I'm going to leave with my energy. So I'm not going to allow anybody to take my energy away from me, and I'm going to keep my energy and stay in this positive mindset at the end of the day. So I went in there with that intention, and what was surprising to me, this was very surprising, is not only did I keep my energy when I went in and when I left, I kept the same positive energy that I had, and I kept it all day, but I noticed something different. And it's almost as though I was exuding this energy from my auric field. And by the end of the day, everyone that I was around was in a good mood. It was amazing. So I actually not only helped myself, but I actually helped everybody else in this whole location. At the end of the day, they're all saying, hi, goodbye, see you tomorrow. We did such a great thing today. Thanks for all your help. And I never have gotten that. Like, it was always negative feedback. So to have that experience happen to me, and it was so blatant, it was so vivid how this particular day ended up being, that I promised myself that I would do it every single day, no matter what. So make yourself a promise and do this. Like, you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you're getting ready to go out, immediately put that bubble around you. Make it a habit. And when you know that you're going to go into a negative environment, make sure that you double strengthen it. Like, make sure that you double check on your boundaries and make sure it's there before you enter a negative space. So it wouldn't hurt. I kind of like view this force field energy kind of like, you know, if you ever did spackle on a wall, did you ever put spackle on it? You can't put a whole bunch on, it never dries, and then it's a mess, right? So you have to put a little bit on at a time, let it dry, a little bit on at a time and let it dry. So each time that you put energy towards your force field, each time that you work on it, you're actually reinforcing it, and you're building it up, and you're making it stronger, stronger and stronger, to the point where it becomes so strong that nothing affects you. You can go into the worst places, the most toxic environments, and nothing affects you. And you can see how it's affecting everybody else, but nothing invades your space. And that's where you want to be. That's where you want to create that force field of energy. You want to develop it so that it's so strong that nothing comes in. I was working on it for so long that I ended up going to an expo or a fair. I was actually working at it, doing readings for people. And my bubble was so strong, and you can manipulate the bubble, so you can make it stronger and you can make it wider. So I went into this one location and I really emphasized this bubble to be around my table and me and my clients that I was working on all weekend. I was really emphasizing it to be strong and protect us, be in a really strong protective space while I was doing these readings all weekend. And all of a sudden, this ghost ended up coming out of nowhere on the Sunday afternoon, and we were starting to finish up the day, but this ghost actually shook a glass frame that was about 10 feet behind me. So it was behind the bubble that I had created, shook it, and everyone saw it flip off a tripod and smash on the floor. Then someone had a Kirlian photography camera in their arm, and they had it nestled in her arm like a football. And everybody saw the camera lift up out of her hands and smash on the floor. And then the ghost went around my bubble and attacked another psychic that was working across from me and made her white as a sheet, and she got sick and had to run to the bathroom. And this all happened within seconds of each other. It was boom, the camera and the person happened, and it was all around me, but it didn't come to me. It wasn't in my field of protection. It never bothered me. I didn't even feel it. So at the end of our session that weekend, I went to the people who were running it and I said, what actually happened? And they said, well, we knew it was haunted. We knew that doing this expo here was going to be an issue, so we bound the spirit, tried to keep the spirit from bothering us because it wouldn't cross. And it got out and it wreaked all this havoc. It was terrible. And because of me developing, working on my boundaries, it didn't affect me. So that's how strong and how important boundaries are. Another thing you could do is you can ask a guide, or you can ask an archangel. I usually ask Archangel Michael because he specifically helps people with protection. And if you are in an environment or a place where you're fearful about yourself, your environment, people around you, if you're really concerned and you're worried for yourself, call on Archangel Michael. I have had story after story about how Archangel Michael changed an event. Unbelievable. So all you have to do is say, Archangel Michael, I need you now. I am fearful. I need your help. I need boundaries. Can you please protect me now in what I'm doing? And when you say now, it's important to say now, because on the other side, there's no time. We only have time on the earth plane. So they could come in 5 minutes, they could come in a half an hour, they could come in an hour. If you need them now, you need to say, Archangel Michael, I need you now. And immediately that he will come and something will change. Something will change, and you will feel this immense power. You'll feel this heat rise up in you. You'll feel this confidence around you, because when he stands next to you, it's like he has a sword and a shield. He's ready to battle. He's ready to fight, and he's going to fight for you. And he's just absolutely amazing. You can ask a guide to work with your boundaries. Another thing you could do is practice building it up. So a lot of times people who are empathic or whatever say to me, oh, I'll never go to a concert, I'll never go to a place that has a lot of people, I can't go on a plane because I am too close to people, I pick up on their energy and it affects me. And that's the wrong thing. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to stay in that weakness. And the best way to develop boundaries is to put the war paint on and head right in. you go into those places and you work on your boundary, you practice, you build it up, you make it strong. And the more times you go to these places, each time you put another layer of protection, a stronger layer. You're making it so strong that you'll get to a point where you don't even have to think about it, because it's there. It's protecting you. Without a doubt that you are protected by this energy, this force field. And you have to keep practicing and putting yourself into situations and test yourself and tell yourself, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to leave with my energy, and I'm not going to attach or let anything else come in and invade my space and change my energy. I'm going to hold it, and it's not going to affect me. So go to these places, build it up. The more you do it, the stronger you become. I've learned it. It's easy to do, but what I found is people forget. They forget to do it. It's easy to do because it's just intention, and it's about really focusing, like meditative focusing, and it just takes a few minutes a day or a few minutes before a certain circumstance or situation. But you have to keep it in your mind, and you have to make sure that you use that tool. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you won't have to think it anymore. You won't have to imagine it. You won't have to intend it, because it's there. And I've seen it work at places and locations. I've seen people walk around me because they could feel that bubble acted. They could feel that protection around me. And it was absolutely amazing, so validating, and you will get validations over and over again. Trust me, work on your boundaries. Also work on your boundaries with people. Don't let other people take your energy away. Really work on honing and self-respect, and really making sure that you're not giving up your power for somebody else, so that they can take your energy and you are depleted. Remember that you are necessary. You are a powerful, beautiful, energetic soul, and you deserve happiness. You deserve respect, and you deserve love. So don't let yourself fall victim to someone else taking your energy away. Hold your energy. Don't ever let your light dim. Think of yourself as holding a candle, and holding yourself, protecting that candle so that it doesn't go out, because your light is so important, and your light affects everyone around you. You can change the world and just being in that light space. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, hold your light. All my light and love to you. Blessings. Stay well. Namaste. Have a blessed day.